So if you're using sort of a classic radio and you carry it around, most likely you use something to protect your gimbals while your radio is in the backpack or something. So in my case, this is the plastic protection that came with the radio, and I absolutely hate it because, well, there's nothing holding it in place, right? It just falls off. So when you're trying to put the radio into the backpack or something, you bump into it and then it, jumps around. Disgusting. So check this out. It does not fall off. What's the secret? Well, the thing is, this protection locks onto the gimbal. So in order to remove it, you have to move the stick to the side and then you can take it out. The secret is there's a special notch at the middle of that protection where the stick slides into, and that's what holds it in place. So the way it operates is you move the stick to the side, put the protection in, release the stick, and it's there. And you have to repeat it again to take the protection off. As you might have guessed, you have to have a 3D printer for that. But there is a more fundamental problem because the stick ends, they can be adjusted, and there are different stick ends on the market, like with a different diameter. So this thing ideally should be custom made for each combination of stick height and the stick end. Fortunately, there's a thing called Customizer on Thingiverse, which is the website for like 3D designs. And I will guide you through the process of generating your own copy of this design. Oh, and one important note. At the moment, it only works with M9 and M7 gimbals because they have this flat face, right, where the protection can rest on. If you're interested in me making this thing for default Taranis gimbals or any other kind of gimbals, just drop me a note in the comments. I will try to get hold of the gimbal and, to adjust the design for that specific purpose. But now let's look at the way to generate your own copy. So in the description of this video, there is a link to this page. This is the, Thingiverse page of this design. What you have to do, oh yeah, by the way, the first thing is that there are some pictures I put there to illustrate what exactly those parameters are supposed to mean, like what exactly you should measure, right? So there are three of them, like the gimbal face diameter, the stick stem height and stick height, and the stick stem diameter and stick end diameter. So what you should do now is click this button, open in Customizer. If you're not registered on Thingiverse, I believe you will have to register and create an account, but then again it will take you here. Now here we have the 5 parameters I was talking about. So I'm going to show you how to make measurements and what to do next. So the first thing is to measure the gimbal face diameter. So you need something like calipers, and you measure the diameter which is available in the radio. So, and that's an important point because, the face of the gimbal itself is one thing, but there could be something in the way. For example, the gimbal rings that come by default on X7S, they have some lip at the very top, like inside of them, which makes the diameter 1 millimeter smaller. So it sits like that on the gimbal, and you have to measure that distance available like from the outside, right? Like from the left to the right. Okay, so in this case, it's something like 47.5 mil. And you put your value of the gimbal face diameter there. It's already there actually. Now the next one, stick height. Stick height is the full height of the stick from the face of the gimbal to the very end. So let me get something. So if you look like closely, from here, right, from this flat area to the very end here. So you measure that, and it's a bit awkward. So something like this should do, right? This is 32 millimeters. So this is our stick height, 32. And you can actually see that the like the picture of the design on the right, it adjusts as you enter values. Stick stem diameter is the diameter of that, well, metal part of the stick in the middle. For M9 and M7 gimbals, I believe they all 5 mil, but you know, just in case you want to try it with a different gimbal, I put that parameter there. I guess you can just keep it at 5. Next one, stick stem height. So this is the distance from the face of the gimbal, right? Again, the flat surface, to this part where the stick end begins, right? This is actually the place where the protection grabs on the stick. This is important to get it like right, because that's how you adjust your stick. On the other hand, if you get it wrong like 0.5 millimeter, you can always bring the stick down a little bit, right? So it actually like locks in place. So that's the stick height. It's a bit awkward to measure because you cannot really put any like measurement device in there. So I usually try to like position this thing that slides out of my calipers and then just, you know, align it. So it looks like this one is, well, around 10 mil. 10.2 actually. So I'm putting 10.2. And stick end diameter. So for the stick end diameter, you have to measure the thickest part of the stick, because the shape of the protector is like that, right? So the shape of this kind of slot, the whole slot, depends on the diameter of the stick in the largest part. So in this case, this is the top part. I measure it like that, and it's about 11.5. Well, I can move it around a little bit. Yeah, it's closer to 11.8. So I put 11.8. And I suggest you do not do anything with tolerance. So basically, if your printer is like really not that accurate, you can increase that number, and that will make all the like notches a bit wider. So I suggest you keep it 0.3. Now, what you do next is you, well, look at the design. It looks sane. You click Create Thing. You can publish it. Basically, what you can just keep it unpublished. What's going on is that it will create a copy of this thing and actually render the design with your values. So I unclick the button, the Publish New Thing checkbox, and do Create Thing. And I think it should actually, yeah, it should tell you that. So it says, okay, creating your customized STL, and you click Go to My Queue. And that is basically the queue of the processing tasks, which are, well, generating your custom designs. While we're waiting, an important point on stick head, stick end measurement. So for stick end like that, you measure at the top, right? But there are some stick ends which wide somewhere at the middle. So for a stick end like this, you should measure the widest part, right? Which is somewhere like there in the middle. So that's important. Don't just measure the, you know, the very top part or the very bottom. Just that one which is the widest, 10 mil in this case. All right. Our custom thing is ready. It says done. So you click View Thing, and it takes you to a thing page. You navigate to thing files at the bottom, and there will be only one file. So you click it to download, goes to your download folder, whatever. Then you open it in your slicing program, and that's pretty much it. So if your sticks, if your both sticks are at the same height, you just make 2 copies of that. You slice them. Important part about slicing is I would recommend keeping the infill density at a low value, like 10% or something, because they are generated as solid objects, but you don't actually need that strength and that like lots of material. So 10% is more than enough. Looks something like this. and you don't have to use any supports. These are designed to be printed without any support. You use 0.2 layer height, and that's it. So you print them, and there you go. So if you like this design, if you find it useful, give this video thumbs up. If you would like me to make the version for regular Taranis gimbals or any other kind of gimbal that you have, I will definitely do that, but just, message me and tell me exactly what gimbal is that. Maybe I will ask you to make photos, or maybe I can get hold of that gimbal myself. So hope you find it useful. Have fun.